All right. Close meeting to order at 5:35. The ASUW acknowledges the stewards of Coast Salish lands, the lands of which we currently sit and the UW occupies. We acknowledge the original and current caretakers, the Wabash, Tulip, and Muckatrue nations and peoples. And we're doing roll call. Ellis.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Melody.
Here.
Yasmin.
Here.
Is absent.
No, they're on Zoom.
They're on Zoom.
Yeah.
Here.
Francisco.
Here.
Leah.
Here.
Nandana.
She's in the bathroom.
Naomi. Anastasia.
Here.
Azan.
Present.
Amanda.
Here.
Andal.
Here.
Maya. Coop. And Carrie.
Present.
We're now in a public forum part of our agenda. Any member of the public can speak, on any topic of choice on the agenda or not. Would anyone care to take that time now? If not, no, they're in executive session.
Okay. I see.
Okay, do I hear any motions? Ellis?
Motion to table executive session. F, thank you, for a period of 1 week for next week's board meeting.
Seconded by Naomi. Motion by Ellis to strike executive session from 6 o'clock to 6:45. Seconded by Naomi. Do I hear any objections?
Oh, objection, just so I can hear the reasoning.
Yeah, I talked with Carrie and Thomas and Jacob, and I think, well, the content of this presentation does constitute a performance review. As it's currently formatted now, it doesn't, so we just need to update the language so it's OPMA compliant.
I rescind my objection.
No, thank you for asking that. Sorry, I should have said that when I first.
All right, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of striking executive session from 6 to 6:45. Please raise your hands and say yay.
Yay.
Seeing it is unanimous, executive session 6 o'clock to 6:45 has been removed. Oh. Tabled for a period of 1
I'll
week.
just add it.
All right, do I hear any other motions?
So we have to motion to add all the highlights because they were after the. Well,
I think they're already on the agenda before we approved it, so
But we haven't approved it.
yeah.
Yes.
we haven't approved it yet. All right,
Motion,
okay,
motion to approve the agenda, second.
all right, motion to approve the agenda by Nami, seconded by Nanda. Do I hear any objections? Seeing none. Taking it to a vote, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hands and say yay.
Yay.
Seeing it is unanimous, the agenda has been approved. Do I hear any other motions? Have we had a chance to look at the March 7 minutes yet? Do I hear any motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes by Naomi, seconded by Azan. Any objections? Hearing and seeing none. Taking it to a vote, all those in favor of approving the minutes from March 7th, please raise your hand and say yay.
Thank you.
All right, seeing it is unanimous, the minutes have been approved. Seeing as we have nothing for the consent agenda, moving on to new business, Board Bill 3.34, an act to appoint a bike shop mechanic for the remainder of the 2023-2024 academic year. Thomas?
Yeah, so Board Bill 2.34 is just an act to appoint a bike shop mechanic for the remainder of the school year. Right now, there have been mechanics that are reducing their hours, so we're just appointing a current volunteer who has been with them throughout the whole year. So, yeah, and then their reasoning is just in the board bill. So feel free to check it out.
Motion to approve. Second.
Can we, I have a motion.
There was
I already motioned to approve.
Second.
motion to approve by Leah, seconded, it was Naomi. All right, do we have any objections? Seeing and hearing none. Taking it to a vote, all those in favor of passing Board Bill 2.34, please raise your hands and say yay. All right, seeing it is unanimous, Board Bill 2.34 adopted. Congratulations to, who was it? Nikki.
Nick Mundy.
Nick Mundy.
Nick Mundy. Okay. Want to suspend the rules.
I motion to suspend the rules to move executive session from 5:30
Just remove time.
to remove the time stamp from executive session. For both of them.
Well, one
There's
is
21. Do I hear a second?
second.
All right. Motion by Francisco to remove the time stamp from the executive session, seconded by Alice. Taking it to a vote real quick. All those in favor of suspending the rules and removing the timestamp, raise your hands and say yay. It is unanimous. Okay.
I guess a question, how would we have to make another motion to move it to now?
You want me to know?
Well, yes. Right here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah. Let me see seconds.
Given it.
Okay. Consider motion. Alice.
I motion to suspend the rules and move the executive session to the next order of business. The agenda.
Second, okay. Motion by Ellis to move the exec session to be the next item on the agenda. For new business. Seconded by Naomi. Any objections? All right, seeing none, taking it to a vote. It's basically suspending the rules. All those in favor, please raise your hands and say yay.
Yay.
All right, seeing it is unanimous. We are now entering executive session per. No, where's it go?
42, 45, 1. Sorry, 1.
Melody, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Basically, this is the budget that I am proposing to staff tomorrow, so we have to get it approved. We're looking at a 120K deficit, which it is a lot, but I would want to say that like this is also assuming that we're using the maximum of our budget proposal, and also that we're assuming that we're getting an 8% increase, full maximum of staff allocation, which realistically saying, we're not really getting that. So there's adjustment needed to be made, which throughout the whole like throughout this whole quarter, we'll be doing that. A deficit is totally fine. We have a lot of reserve, and up till currently, I see that our reserve are going to go up again for the coming year. Also that FNB, it's gonna do like, kind of like an evaluation. We'll be inviting entities and commissions to come to our meeting so that we can kind of do a small evaluation for next year FNB. These things cannot be done just through one quarter, but I wanted to have a head start so that next year board of directors and next year FNB could have a early start with reviewing existing service ASUW has right now, because ASUW has been expanding, but the funding that we're getting, it's not catching up. Some of the entities are doing great, and some of the existing service that like, there's a need for evaluation. Definitely, there's more than just money to look at, but I'm suggesting and like reviewing like all these existing service, because to sustain a healthy finance for ASUW, it's needed. So not suggesting any like cutting or necessary like that, but like, it's nice to have a reviewing and see what could be lowered and things like that, because I have the data collected from like the past 3 years, how much have each entities and commission has been spending. And the reason why we have such a huge reserve, obviously one of the year it's COVID. But even back after COVID, we're not spending as much as we request for. So like, there might be some programming that's not needed that much money, or like, actually, let me put it in a better way. More of like, there's like different ways of like providing a service which doesn't need that much money that they might have been doing. So their adjustment could have been done to sustain a more like healthy finance. But some highlights, as mentioned last week, all the coordinators, we have adjusted their wages, hourly wages. It is because of the point system that we calculated that we see a more, the current assistant directors for each commissions are getting a lower pay than coordinators, while we do see a more needed for them to get a higher pay than like the coordinators, just with like the work and responsibility that we see, like we kind of evaluate from them. So we adjust their wages to matches with, from higher to matches with the assistant directors. And other change for wages, it's that I'm proposing to add a new position for Bean Basket. They are foreseeing a almost double amount of what they're getting from revenue from this year for next year. So obviously there's a need for more hours, and they're proposing to have a lead cashier, which would help them to have a better like operation. Also, like if they're doubling their revenue, like it's like it's like a plus that you have to like add in a little bit more labor. They also asked for 10 hours for 2 weeks for summer, which they don't have. They didn't have it for last year. This is because whenever they have, like Bean Basket has been operating to start of fall quarter, but then they have a lot of stuff that they have to buy and then to move around and everything for operating, which makes them usually start November. While start of school, it's like fall, it's like September and October. So if they could have an extra 2 weeks, they can have a smoother transition to providing a service at the start of the fall. And then another thing, it's that bike shop also proposed almost, actually, I forgot the number on top of it, but they also proposed a higher revenue because of how the service has been used. They have been seeing the increasing needed for their service this year. So they're proposing to take out one of the position, which is the business manager, because there's like overlapping things that operation manager would do, so that they took out of that position and they replaced that position with a head mechanic. Which doesn't make a huge increase in their like budget request in total. So that I didn't like, it's not like a new position or anything, it's more of like a taking out, like change of job description. But yeah, so those are some highlighted change or like highlighted increase of the budget.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? No?
So to clarify the committee review that you're talking about, is that to evaluate for next year's budget?
For both, in a sense that right now I'm asking for way more than what I would be expecting to get. This like the evaluation would also help that if we do not get a full request amount, that if like adjustment is needed to lower the deficit as much as possible, that would help as well, but definitely majority of it is for next year to have a better way of like figuring out how the finance could work.
And if there are going to be decreases, is that exclusively coming out of programming and things like that and not like hours and wages? Or is there a possibility that hours could be decreased? For any committee or like
For the ones that have, like for the jobs that has been posted, they're not likely to be decreased because that's something that we have already like tell people about it. And also that we get our decision back around like late June, so it's not likely that we would change wages and like hours. Also for the decrease in programming, it's not very likely that you would get lower than last year budget. So it's more of like a decrease in what you request for.
oh yeah.
So like you're not getting a full amount that you're requesting for, but you're most likely to get at least the same amount as last year. But also that this decision, it's not only just based on like how this year performance is, but also how previous year data collected. It's like, it's a pretty much a true reflective of how you have been spending your budget.
I remember we did a temporary line item change for Senate, and that was moving the current captioning budget to the chair discretionary fund.
Yes.
Is that FMB decision, just bringing it back to what it was previously?
To what it was, sorry,
So it says the entity request was 4,300. And then the
Yes.
decision was 500.
yes, this is because, so their $6,000, it's for card captioner.
Mhm.
And as you can see, chair discretionary fund, it's not usually over $1,000. This is because Senate has their own programming doing, and it's not very much like, I know that, Andel talked to us about like, she has a lot of like plans or like new programs that she wanted to do, which right now, like, because there's not much that we have been seeing right now, so it's more of like a reasonable giving that a $500. There's a suggestion that I get from Trevor, from previous finance and budget director of the board, that they have, because we have so much of a general fund, so we allow like commission, we could like build a funding for commission if they wanted to build a new service or like they have some new ideas, because obviously each year there's like some new ideas, but you're working around with a budget that may limit that. But we have a general reserve that we could like provide that to them if they have it for next year.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, okay, I mean, my question would be, so that the empty dash for like card captioner, so is that staying 6,000 or is it just gonna be blank?
No, it's $0 because they're not requesting for it.
Oh, okay. I know.
So the reasoning behind the like entity request for the chair discretionary fund, it's like based on our current budget and we just reallocated the money. So the cart captioner fund wouldn't be confined to that. So it's in the chair discretionary fund, which the intention behind it is like the first thing that leadership would consider is whether or not to proceed with cart captioning or like do it for certain events or something like that. And it can be used for that because it's a discretionary fund and can apply to multiple things. And then if money runs out for cart captioning, they can ask for more from OID. But it's to like, so the cart captioning was an initiative from a few years ago from a previous Senate speaker. And I didn't want to, so this year's Senate leadership, after much deliberation, thought it would not be beneficial compared to the cost, because we would have blown past the 6,000 and not had enough money to pay for a room because that wasn't allocated to us. We thought the room and that accessibility outweighed like the benefits of cart captioning. But we didn't want to make that assumption for future leadership and like kind of disrespect the work that the previous Senate speaker put in to get that money. So that was our reasoning.
Francisco.
Yeah, I understand redistributing it, but it seems that you guys,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it seems like you requested it, like it transferred to other stuff, including the discretionary. Chair's discretionary fund, because that says 4,300,
Mhm.
but then the F&B decision says 500, so where did that like roughly other 4,000 go?
So FNB made the decision.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so like, they didn't request for 500, but we decided to give them 500 because the $6,000 it's originated to have the service of card capture.
Yes.
And they're not requesting for that service anymore.
Yeah, they request, it's in this request, it says they wanted it under the chair discretionary fund, which says 4,300, but then the F&B decision says 500, so where did that, like essentially 4,000 go? Because it doesn't seem like it was redistributed anywhere else.
Yes, we're not giving that $4,000 because it was $6,000 towards card captioner.
Yes,
It's like a whole package of service that's only towards that, but chair discretionary fund gives towards many other option. Where if you're not, like, we see that you're not using that card captioner service, like, at least that's. We thought that like, it's like,
Yes.
they're not continuing to provide their card captioner, then. They don't usually have, like, Senate doesn't have the history of. Putting on a lot of events and programming compared to other commissions. So it's not like a cut, but it's like they don't provide that.
yeah,
card captioner service.
I understand, but where else was it where else was it distributed?
It would just spread over for like wages, for example, like.
Okay, so like
wages
other
and
things
like-
outside
yeah,
of the
other
Senate,
things
okay,
outside of the
thank you,
Senate,
thank you.
yeah. Okay, I misunderstood your questions.
So I mean, I guess, do we have a plan to kind of supplement that cart capture somewhere else? I mean, if the request was denied and then the cart capture budget.
They are not using card captioner.
Right.
They see that they could use Zoom.
Mhm.
If, correct me if I'm wrong, that they see that, oh, Zoom, it's enough and accessible for students who go to Senate. That's why they're not asking for the card captioner. service.
Add on to that, at like, obviously I can't do anything about F&B's decision. And there are like other elements considered as well, but what I can do on my end is include in my transition documents, like these ask OID for cart captioning and have that be one of the very first things you deliberate about at the beginning of the year. Like that's the best I can do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, my concern, it's not even within the Senate. I'm just a little concerned because the OID's budget also got decreased too. And so
Oh,
as the backup option, I mean, because Zoom is not the most reliable for card captioning as we've seen in the past. And if that need does arise and the Senate's budget is no longer.
OID budget did not get a decrease, it's just they didn't get a full request for what they need. And then also, you can change F&B decision, the board has the right to do so. And so if you want to, that could totally be the change, and I'll just, like, tomorrow presentation, I'll be proposing that change. So yes, you could make the decisions to change.
The entity request.
Can I give a point of information or,
That's this right there.
okay, okay, so, everyone, if you look at the budget on your screen, I'll show you on my tiny little, sorry. Anyways, so you have a bunch of columns here where it says FY 23. This is what the amount was in the line item for the fiscal year 23. FY 24 is what it was for this year. That's how much money they had in their budget. And then there's a break. After the break, it is their requested amount and what they've been given. So if you're seeing a discrepancy, what I would urge you to look at is the FMB decision and then how much they had for fiscal year 24. So that would indicate whether or not it's gone down since last year. And then in these two columns, if there's a decrease or increase, that just means their entity request was either accepted or rejected. It doesn't, just because the two numbers in the rightmost column are different does not mean that their budget overall decreased. Just as we go through this.
Thanks, Alice.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know that that would cause like confusion,
I
so.
love tables.
Budgets are really confusing for everyone involved. They're not easy to read.
Francisco.
Okay, so I'm trying to get the basicness of this. So the net budget for next year is looking like 1,630,000 roughly dollars.
Plus
Gesundheit.
Yes, 1,000,006.
Okay, and so
Eight.
what are we requesting from staff? Is it that
We are
allocation?
requesting for the allocation. Because staff put a cap of 8% increase or 30K if you're smaller, like depending on which is larger. So we have a bigger budget, so we took a 8% and that's the maximum that I can request for. That's why we are seeing
So
a
that's why that's
deficit.
deficit. So how?
Yeah.
Again, how are we gonna like, since we're not getting as much money for the entire budget from staff, how are we supplementing that? Is it the like talks of like lowering like programming or like looking at the finances for other committees that you've been talking about?
That's why we're doing a evaluation of all the entities and commission, because definitely, even given if we have this full amount, we are still seeing a deficit and it's not great.
Yeah.
So, and especially the fact that we're not getting that, well, at least realistically saying we're not getting that. So that's why we want to do an evaluation, so to see like, we have data collected, but we also want to respect like how much this year has been spent. And like, it's just spring quarter, it started spring quarter, they might be still doing programming. So we wanted to invite them so we can have a conversation with them to adjust for this year
Yeah.
budget. We're most likely to still see deficit, but at least we get a head start for next year to have to have a better investigation to what existing service might need a decrease or like increase, adjusting to the need for actual student need right now.
Yeah.
currently. So yeah.
Alice?
So a clarifying question is like, okay, I'll use round numbers. Okay, so say we request $1 million from staff, we get approved for 900,000. Does the FMB committee then spend the rest of spring quarter figuring out who that 900,000 goes to? Obviously using this draft as our design, and then we submit a final budget back to board?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're doing that starting next week.
Perfect.
The decision that we will hear back from staff, it's almost like the last week of the last meeting of a week before the last meeting for board. So it's very rushed. That's why we're starting to like adjust right now so that this decision can be made throughout the quarter. And so like, it wouldn't be a rush to be like, oh, we're not getting the full amount and what do we do?
Mhm.
So.
Francisco.
So how much, I think I've heard about this like a while ago, but how much do we have in our reserve that would supplement our deficit?
We have more than enough, but right now we have 1.4 billion.
Okay.
And obviously, because past two quarter has not been there is not much spending
Yeah.
from past two quarter. That's why I'm saying that like, I'm seeing an increase in the reserve again. That's why we need to revisit existing service, because this is happening because some of them are not using as much.
Yeah.
But I don't want to disrespect something, like they're not using the money as much, but doesn't mean that they're not providing
Yeah, of
service
course,
or
yeah.
anything. That's why we need to revisit and everything.
Yeah, I will also say to add on, to Melody about just like the long-term financial health of ASUW is we can't like request a ton of money and then when we don't get it, immediately dig into our reserve. That'll work great for next year and maybe the year after that. But if we continue that pattern without making significant like restructuring changes, which will start this year and then pass off to next year, we're gonna end up in a pretty big hole, like a few years down the line. So just some of these things might seem kind of like really harsh, because oh my gosh, we have so much money in our reserve, why don't we just, stop the bleeding with that? But just like F&B also has to take a really long-term view because the reserve isn't always gonna be there. And we can't, if staff sees that we have a super large reserve, they're gonna give us even less and less and less each year than we request. So there's like a lot of work that F&B will be doing this quarter to like kind of right the ship that COVID left us.
Leah, and then Melody.
Oh, I was just gonna motion to approve.
Oh,
Oh, well, then I'm just gonna add like a point of information. So another reason it's also that like, because seeing this, it's unfair to some of the entities or commissions who want new service when they're doing more, while the others like, they're not spending as much, but they're requesting for at least the same amount. So they're taking up the space that some entities, for example, I'm using Bean Basket and Bike Shop, I'm liaison to them, and they also have been like using, like they have been like spending a lot of their budget and getting a lot of revenue for ASUW to like cover the expenses. And when they want new position, I can request that to staff because I'm place a cap while the other service not using as much. Obviously, these all go back to general fund, but as staff wouldn't know. And staff wouldn't want to know. You wouldn't want staff to know that we're not spending as much money.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't want to give us money then, like, you're not spending them. So it's unfair to like some entities and commissions that has been working hard and spending like to what they wanted to request for. So, but yeah, that's the point of information.
I have two questions. Does the net deficit that we're in signal that we're using our money properly to staff?
No, I wouldn't say so. It means that we have some serious problem with our finance.
Okay.
Just
And then the second question is, do we want to start that task force or bill creation for a financial directive for next year's board to start that?
I think, we're gonna, we're gonna start like next week to start evaluating so that like these like task force could be started like earlier
Yeah,
for next year, yes.
okay, that's all my questions, yeah. Alice?
Oh, Melody also and I have plans to like have board bills created and set up so the incoming vice president F&B director can start with things already ready and waiting for them to do.
And
Just out of curiosity, under what circumstances are we allowed to tap into the reserves?
Well, if we're seeing a deficit, we have to cover it. Like these deficits might be coming off from wages and salary, so we have to use the general fund to cover it. It's just like that. And then
So we are using it. 'Cause
we are using it, yes.
Yeah, cause I think you said something about like not losing all of it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you a metaphor. Say you have a kid and you're a parent giving allowance to your child and you give little Timmy $10 a week, right? And like this is, you expect your kid to spend the $10 every single week and like this is what you can afford because you also have to, give your money to other kids, right? And then you find out your kid has only been spending $1 of that $10 and has built a giant cash cow and it's not going to the food that the lunch that you expected them to buy. You'd be like, okay, buddy, why am I gonna give you $10 a week? I'm only gonna give you $5 a week. So your little kid can still tap into the reserve, but if you like tap into the reserve and start spending like a ton of money to like cover the expenses that you're suddenly not getting, you're gonna end up with no money. So we can tap into the ASUW reserve, but it's not sustainable for us to just assume that it's always gonna be there.
But we are tapping.
We're gonna have to, yeah.
Okay, is there any other comments, questions? and opening it up to motions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Leah, seconded by Azan. Motion to approve Board Bill 3.36. Any objections? Seeing none, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of passing Board Bill 3.36, raise your hands and say yay.
Yay. Budgetary.
All right, seeing it is unanimous, Board Bill 3.36 has been approved. Congratulations. We've already entered into our executive session, so ignoring that, going to our funding updates. I'm assuming we don't need to see the budget proposal anymore.
No, we
Yeah.
don't.
We can move on.
Let me just. pull up.
Access.
Just.
Yeah, that's what we have access to.
So, I'm assuming everyone does not have access to all of them.
Looks like it.
I don't have access.
I don't, it doesn't look like we have access. I don't have access to it.
All of them? Yeah, I don't have access to all of them.
Let me update it so that it could be access to.
I need to start even.
Just do the previous method.
Yeah.
Just the manage settings and then just drop it into the chat. I'll update it.
Let's go. These are the songs. I think the last year was petty. Sure.
Yeah, I'll do all at once. I'm so sorry, guys.
I motion to recess for 5.
Motion by Francisco to recess for 5 minutes, seconded by Nandana. Any objections? She's not objectionable, so bring it to a vote for yes, of course. All those in favor of recess for 5 minutes, raise your hands and say yay.
Yay. Yeah.
Alright, Naomi's not here. Seeing it is unanimous, recess until 6:54.
Agenda again. I think I'm on the wrong. This debate.
I did.
Recess is done?
Yeah.
Okay. I
I guess.
Yeah,
Didn't hear any objections anyways.
cause like, I don't have it, like,
I love.
I put it on through like the shared drive that
It's
we
just
have,
closing the
but
debate that's not.
this one says like April
Okay,
3rd.
sure.
Yeah.
It's April 4th.
And all the.
I know, that's
all the
how I
other
was like-
I texted you
motions.
again last night.
Oh, really?
It should be in your email.
Yeah, adjournment and session
Close
of
debate.
privilege
Don't
are
bring me
debatable.
belongings.
but
They are?
recess is-
Why
Yeah.
won't I that?
No, wait, they're not
They're not,
debatable, it's the
yeah.
opposite, yeah, I know, but we can't debate who recess, which means it is objection.
Okay, alright. At least I announced it, so we're not in jeopardy.
Well, like,
How does Holly not use Outlook for?
Seen it so many years.
I don't
I
know,
feel like
I did like a
personally, it's fine with not using them.
group bonding event for.
Don't, because you guys have not been
Yeah.
using them.
I've got that like.
Years ago, like, we did like this.
You were like.
You wanna get it now right now.
No, honestly, yeah. I think
Strawberries?
it's-
No.
the re- I think the reason why we have it is we
Need it.
Okay.
No, I'm
Yeah, I can only cook
So you
on
have
that.
to
I can't do
lots
it
of
on-
smell from the.
Yeah.
post.
So
I was
it's
like,
the max.
smells so.
Yeah, my friend
nice.
went
I
to,
only
like,
detected it halfway through the
Bar,
meeting.
like I had like candy night or whatever, I think we did
I cut it for
7
now,
out of,
but
like,
we're gonna, we're gonna,
14, so.
we're gonna do like
You're in the middle of
final, like,
for this
discussion.
For this year.
That's what we named us.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay, I'll do it for you then.
Okay, thank you.
You
We'll
also
just
need
be
that.
out
Okay.
before
Yeah, I need
the
it.
daylight.
You have the money for it.
Oh, yeah, I need it.
I'm
Yes,
getting things to tonight. I'm so excited.
yeah, that is weird.
Thank you.
21.
I thought of getting like wireframe glasses instead of this like modern acrylic.
The only problem with the wires is that they have the nose pieces,
They get
and so
stuck in
like
your
if you put
hair.
you put them up on your head, it rips your hair out. They're cute though.
I think frame really, especially the bob, really plays into my like secretary vibe, French secretary.
No, I like the thick ones, like photos, something.
I like the green like acid or whatever. You're like, what the, Warby Parker.
You didn't like the background?
They look good on you.
I hate this background. I look like I'm sitting in front of mustard.
This is your first year back,
Oh, well,
or your.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought.
They really gave me
No,
the
but, like,
yellow.
Not
I've
Ollie
been-
Husky,
I
oh,
started
it's
at
either purple or
EBCC.
yellow.
It's purple, gold, but it's
then-
mustard.
Oh.
Or, okay, I could write.
What is that?
Oh, EBCC, Everett. Community
Purple's
College.
best.
I see, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I
But-
was like, oh, I thought they were gonna give
literally
me the
took,
gray
like,
because of like the navy blue suit and stuff. But I'm
And
thinking
have
it's
succeeded in
mustard.
college. Like seriously,
the
like I
comparison is
was
there.
really worried about being a student.
You're
because
great,
it's
though.
been
Like
17
you, I could
years
choose
since I
one
was a
for
student.
the side.
I saw, yeah, I get that.
Glasses,
Some of them.
They're like 60 of them, something like that.
Also,
Can we go through?
More of a binge and purge type of a thing, like, you know, you bring it in and then spit it back out and like
Oh, yeah.
memory.
No, and what's
The
coming in
conceptual
Foster
thing,
is gonna post these photos.
like
and they're
there's,
gonna put me
like
in
in my
front.
classes,
Why?
the fact that
Because
every
Disabled guy.
every single class I've had to write a paper.
God,
whether
I
it's
love
music,
They love
policy,
using me. You know what happened?
To
My marketing class.
conservation.
Diversity.
like, no matter what it is,
Or like a publisher, like a
Yeah, yeah.
Foster
It's
photographer
really
came in to take
weird.
photos of
So
class,
they-
but it was
it's
during
not- it's not-
presentation.
it's better.
Of course, the photographer
Oh, yeah.
during my presentation.
I think we should
And
do
took photos of
purple
me.
out.
And then left after
Stop the
stuff.
press.
Yeah, no.
You know, all the governments are.
Oh, like they love, they're like,
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
So bad.
That's
They
what
were
they're-
Minority.
Like,
Right.
that's a gift.
Like,
We'll get
No, no,
to
you
see.
don't-
Never seen
You
an
have to
Asian
engage
person
the
on it.
material to write a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
not
the
that
best,
bad.
the best part I see learning.
I did get an EAT shirt.
More so, it's not remembering, it's
Look at
comprehension.
this.
So like you can remember stuff, but like are you
Gets me on the
really
front.
You don't
understanding?
machine it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
bro.
best
You
one.
absolutely.
They better put me up big. Put this table blow me.
Finals then just like sit.
Provided by.
Oh, yeah, it is really cute. Okay, it's not awful yellow.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like a
thinking like
mustard.
Dijon, like Dijon yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, no, that,
Yeah.
it was bright.
See, that's the thing about like my history and like education.
Like a
classes.
same
Well,
with
I've been- I've been pretty much on, like the studies.
Yeah, I've been talking to Karen.
And like,
Oh, okay, good.
I can type, I can like analyze it.
I want it.
I don't like reading, but it's hilarious.
I don't want to
But,
take a picture.
I have to, I have to
want
read
to
a
take a
bunch of
picture
stuff.
like, no, not there.
Blank
I can do that.
But like outdoorsy
I like
background.
like
Yeah,
last year was so nice. I want to use that as my like LinkedIn picture. That was so nice.
Want to put it all back in there.
Actually,
It's
the
been
yellow's growing on
like-
me.
No, it's.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a lot though.
It's for Husky 100. Husky 100.
Yeah, I mean, she was in and out of that.
Yeah, what?
I was really
Like,
worried
got
about
it.
it.
Not yet.
I'm more left. Analytical, solve the problem.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Mika's on it.
We don't have.
Nico's one of the only juniors.
They're the only juniors I
I think
know.
there's like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Someone said her name and I was like, that name is so familiar.
Melanie. Oh, he applied? Dang it, I should have applied. I really should have.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did.
I wouldn't be
Because that
surprised
would
if I
take, that would
did.
take, yeah, that would take me,
Which one you got it?
Yeah.
the angles and stuff, like where it's like distributed, like.
I mean, updated or lemons.
Holy shit.
Well, like,
It's been
that-
stuff.
the names are there. There's, in
Well,
our
you're like
email,
a
they said don't tell anyone, but then you go on Husky 100 website and they have the full list there. They'll suck at it.
Oh, okay.
Those things, those like first time seeing.
It's under blog.
It's kind of the
And
same.
then it said-
It's like hidden.
It's like, it's hidden and it's like announcing.
Alright, can we all check if we can open up board bills 3.31 through 3.35?
Yes, Jacob.
Can we check real quick?
No.
It's not working.
No, check the one that I sent in chat.
Okay.
They don't work.
With the work on the agenda.
Well, I wanna make sure it works in the agenda first. So 3.31 through 3.5. Can we check real quick, make sure we just go through all of them, they're working?
They're not working on the agenda.
Yeah.
Refresh.
Okay.
Make sure refresh.
I got all mine from the agenda.
Is refresh.
It works.
Yeah.
It should work now, right?
Okay, there you go. Thank
It
you.
works?
Yeah.
Okay. He knows his fault. Melody, you wanna go ahead, 3.31?
Yeah, 3.31 facility costs for the Sitamaka. Everything it's attached in the finance bill, if you wanna take a look up their quote, what they request for, and their Excel budget worksheet.
I'm just gonna say, like, it's really cool, guys. Lots of cool people performing. You should come.
Are you performing?
Maybe
Interest, okay. So you wanna abstain in the vote?
you should abstain.
You should abstain. Okay, any of the comments, questions, motions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Naomi, seconded by Leah. Board Bill 3.31. Any objections? Seeing none, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of passing Board Bill 3.31, raise your hands and say yay. We're in the middle of a vote for approving Board Bill 3.31.
Yay.
Funding to Daisy Walker. One, two, keep your hands raised. One, two. All right, all those against? All those abstaining? Okay, Board Bill 3.31 passes 7-0. Oh, 7-0 to 2. Yes,
It's April 27th, guys. Buy your tickets now.
April 27th.
Thanks. But after parties.
Okay,
Point of information,
point of information from Adol.
like a dance showcase.
Go ahead.
It's UW's like historic South Asian like RSO showcase. So every like South Asian dance team, like music group, like any but one who wants to perform can like sign up in the audition. And so it's gonna be like a South Asian performing arts showcase. It's super cool. You guys should come.
Okay. All right. We're on to Board Bill 3.32, enact to grant funding to, I'm gonna say that wrong. Olana?
Facility costs. In short,
Okay. So
Motion to
What's the
approve.
event?
the event is. What is the event?
Luau,
Luau.
Luau.
my bad.
Okay.
You're good.
Thank you
So
for.
appropriation for 2,500 for Luau. Board Bill 3.32, any comments, questions, motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Zon, seconded by Ellis. Any objections? Seeing none, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of passing Board Bill 3.32, raise your hands and say yay.
Yay.
Seeing it is unanimous, Board Bill 3.32 has been approved. Board Bill 3.33, act to grant funding to First Nations.
I think the link is the same.
Oh,
Last one.
that is not good. I will update that myself, sorry.
Oh, which link is?
All 33 is the same as that.
Okay, refresh, try it again. Is it working?
Yep.
Refresh, try again. real quick. Everyone
I
see
got
it?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. Go ahead.
Also facility costs.
Spring powwow for April 13th to the 14th. Yeah, comments, questions, motions. Alice,
Motion to approve.
motion to approve by Alice, seconded by Nandana. Any objections? Seeing none, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of passing Board Bill 3.33, raise your hands and say yay.
Yay.
Seeing it is unanimous, Board Bill 3.33 has been approved. Board Bill 3.34,
2,500 to facility costs for Gaming Association at UW for their event Husky Expo 2024.
right. April 27th, Husky Expo 2024 Gaming Association at UW. Comments, questions, concerns, or motions? Naomi,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion to approve by Naomi, seconded by Ellis. Any objections? Seeing none. Take it to a vote. All those in favor of passing board bill 3.34, raise your hands and say yay.
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 All those against? All those abstaining? All right, board bill 3.34 has been approved, votes 702. Board bill 3.35, enact to grant funding to American Society of Mechanical Engineers.
It's 1,941.25 for the facility costs for the event, engineering spring formal held on April 18th.
Okay,
I just have a quick question
Oh, no.
before we approve this one. I noticed that 4 of these are asking for the full 2,500 amount. Is that, like, does that trend continue throughout the quarter, or is it just because of like early in the quarter? And like,
I would
did this
say,
also happen last year?
I would say it's early in the quarter because a lot of things happen during spring. But also we have increased our special appropriation fund to 40K, so like we have the capacity to fully fund these RSOs.
okay. You said 900 or 1,941?
1,900.
Okay. All right, budget, facility cost 19.
19, oh yeah. Thank you.
And 25 cents, April 18th, for the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Spring formal.
Motion to approve.
Motion to
Second.
approve was Alice, right?
What?
Or
Leah.
Leah. Seconded by, who was it seconded by? Zon, okay. Motion to approve by Leah, seconded by Zon. Any objections? Seeing none, taking it to a vote. All those in favor of passing board bill 3.35, raise your hands and say yay. All those against? All those abstaining? All right, board bill 3.35 has been approved with a vote of 702. All right, next up, we have discussion items.
Yeah.
This is first of 100,000.
No, because we passed this. We passed.
All right, moving on to discussion items. Board members, social media now.
All right, hi everyone. So, talking with Yasmin about this too, since she's OCOM director. But I think that we should have our own like social medias as board members. I know we have the ASUW Seattle Instagram, but I feel like that kind of covers all of ASUW. And if we all had access to like our own individual Instagrams, we could be a lot more transparent with the public about our work. And so I want to open up to discussion about what other people think. I mean, in my opinion, it's better to over communicate than under communicate. So,
Alice.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. However, I think it is possible to spread your communication too thin. And so my concern would be having like a different Instagram, for example, for all of us would be a lot. So what about like the idea of just a board Instagram? Because I do think the ASUW Seattle should be mostly for ASUW entities and commissions to shine.
Leah.
I do like that idea as well, Ellis. However, my only thing is just like, I went on a deep dive because me and Naomi also talked about this. And I went on a deep dive into like other student governments and like how, like their Instagrams look. And I noticed that like a lot of like pretty much majority of like student governments from like, I guess like the Big Ten, for example, they have like individual Instagrams for their positions and like I think it really does help with like outreach and like also like I guess like we all do have like different friend groups and et cetera or whatever. So I feel like if we all do have like our own, like if everybody within their own positions have their own Instagram, like it could expand like outreach because your friends are more likely to follow the vice president page than like my friends might, you know, and like I think like it might and like I don't think there's ever too much outreach. I feel like especially if we just like emphasize that like this is the ASUW Board of Directors, Vice President Instagram, or like the Director of Programming, etc. But I do like the idea of like just a board Instagram as well, like to not have it like fluctuate.
I also like the idea. I think it's a good idea. I think some restrictions do need to be made just in case. We don't want your page to seem as if it's the views of the entire ASUW. I like the idea of what Francisco has currently right now. It's just a kind of a way to differentiate social and personal life. But if you were to do it in a board capacity as an elected board member, the one thing I would emphasize that you use your actual board email and password, or a different password, but at least your board email, so everything can be there for communication purposes and for transparency. And then some sort of disclaimer saying that your views or whatever you post is the views of yourself as a board member and not signifying or representing all the ACW or even all the board directors.
So go through like the respective channels too, like how all the other Instagrams do is like, you know how like, they have the approval, like OCOM approval, like I feel like especially if like, we're gonna post things, like it should go through.
Now,
Yeah, to add kind of more of just my reasoning to this too, I think we all individual Instagrams that could one help with like our own autonomy in that social media. The way I run it would be different than probably like Nandana or Leah, but you put like your personality and kind of have like that public image a bit more. Second, this also helps with accountability too. So if you're on like a whole board Instagram, if like one person's not posting or being transparent, it kind of goes unnoticed. But if you have like your own account, you're a lot more likely to want to like really put work into it, because it shows a lot more, so.
Ellis?
Yeah, okay, I'm reading out loud what Yasmin texted in the chat. I'd prefer to table this discussion until I can be there in person, as I am unable to fully participate in this conversation. I will also add, OCOM does not have the capacity to monitor and manage all accounts for each of the board of directors. And I discussed this with Naomi before about the ASUW Instagram being decentralized focus for the purpose of having the ability to highlight what the board are doing. It's definitely a good idea, but it's not something that's feasible for this quarter.
Okay. I'll take the advice of tabling it, but I will do my own independent research for in terms of compliancy with the personnel and communication policy, but this far, I don't see an issue with managing your own independent role as it kind of relates to your role in terms of outreach and making sure that that account is made with your own ASUW email, not personal. And just making sure just that it's future proof, that the next person can take over with ease and it's not gonna be something that you're using on a personal level, more just to show your job and advocacy and outreach. Alex?
Yes, adding on to that, I think we would have to take a really close look at this policy. I mean, I think a really big topic of discussion this year around this board has been what can the board say as their own opinion and when does it constitute student opinion? So like in terms of reposting things, I think would you just be reporting? I'd be interested to see if the scope is like just reporting on what you've been working on, or if it's like you reposting things you agree with. I think there's not a great area. I think we should table this, but I would love in the interim to be sent the examples, Leah, that you have from the Big Ten. I think that would be super helpful. And then yes, to Yasmin's point, we would also have to look into amending the communications policy. And
Yeah, but thus far, I know what you can't do is put any ASUW logo, because that's what is kind of the general principle behind the communication policies, when and where you can use the ASUW logo. And so if you're using your own personal role and your own personal page, even if it's about your role, if it's something that has the ASUW logo on it, it should still go through that same process of approval.
Yeah.
But if it's about your own role, I'll look into it, but I feel like there is no reason why you should not be able to. But we'll go down the row. Who hasn't spoken last? Andal, and then Goldie, and then Naomi.
Motion to table for a week.
Okay, there's been a motion to table for a week by Andal,
Second.
seconded by Ellis. Any objections? Objection by Leah.
I just have like one more comment to say.
Going
and I-
back to, Andal, do you wanna yield your time?
Like it's really short.
Okay.
The only thing that I meant was like, kind of in a sense, like I know for my position, I like I work with like all the diversity commissions, and I feel like just the outreach alone by just like being able to have that extra channel to like repost all of the like respective commissions and like on the like on my Instagram stories or like things that have probably already been approved by OCOM would be really beneficial, just so we can have like a more centralized area for like posts, but that was just my idea. And then I'm done.
Any other? Oh, Naomi, go ahead.
Like, yeah, I guess we can table. I mean, we are all here now, though. Even though you're on Zoom, we can still talk about it now. The more we put this off, like, just the later it gets.
I'll do my research. I'll get back to y'all, probably by Monday and tell y'all if y'all can do it in the meantime. But
Can I
as for
rescind my
again, ACW logo. And was that,
I rescind my motion.
you rescind your motion, okay.
If they don't need to.
But as for the ACW logo, again, policy does exist, so be mindful. Alice,
Are we moving on?
yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No.
yeah.
So,
So the next discussion item is, I wanna say ups or is it UPS?
Ups.
Ups, Naomi.
Okay, so we have extra time today, so we can try something a little bit new. Just bear with me on this, but I feel like there's a lot of negativity that goes around in ASUW. And it's fun to just celebrate what we're doing like right and like your fellow like team. So I think we should all go around and do ups. It's a thing I do with my friends. Basically you go around in a circle and you say someone here that you just wanna recognize. So like I can start, like I'll give my up to Susan. She's unpaid, but she always shows up to these meetings. She's always trying to join more meetings in ASUW, such as like FMB. And she always has a smile on her face. So yeah, the way it works is after that I'll say up and then everyone claps. Like yeah, so
Okay.
that was practice one. So one more time. All right, up. All right.
Oh, one clap or two, is that?
Two claps. Yeah. All right, Alex, you got it.
Okay, wow, love this idea. I will say, do I say ups to someone?
Yeah, so you'd be like, I'll give my up to, and then some person, and then you say what?
Okay, I'll give my up to Undal. Senate had a very controversial meeting with a lot of very different opinions last week, and I think you did a really good job chairing and remaining impartial. There was a lot of feelings on all sides, and I think being in the middle of that and facilitating that conversation is not easy, so ups to you, yes.
So you'd say up.
Up.
Let's go. Okay, 1, 2.
Uh-oh, you're bad.
That is not ups.
Will you unplug me, please?
Yes.
Um,
Those emojis.
Huh?
Are they dumb emojis?
I like her.
I wanna be part. Let's do that.
Big ups to, I want to give a big ups to Julie, Thomas, and Melody for, I know this is gonna be a hectic quarter, I know going forward, but still the amount of work done so far to prepare us for hiring and for our budget season is commendable, so big ups to you all. So ups.
Yeah, so
Is that right?
it's up, not ups.
I have,
Okay, collectively, it's
in
up,
my,
but you're
in my
individually up.
drawing, can I say big ups?
You know
Big
what? Make
ups.
it your own.
Alright, Maya.
Okay. Can I give it to two people too? I'll give my ups to Francisca and Jacob for always answering my questions like randomly, like 3 in the morning, or like anything, to be honest. Thank you. Up.
I'll give my up to Razan because I read like one of our in board reports a while ago and it was really detailed and I was like, oh, you're doing a lot, and like I forget what was on it, to be honest, but like you were doing a lot, and I'm happy, so up.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I wanna give my ups to everybody. You guys have been so nice, so kind and so welcoming, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys.
When if, can we have Yasmin, if they're comfortable, go like right after Amanda, so we're. Yeah.
I wanna give my up to Thomas and Yasmin because they're kind of like really my support as well too. And then also for just as what Naomi mentioned a little bit before, like there's been a lot of like negativity around ASUW, and that I feel like Thomas has taken a lot of part of it too. So I really wanna give this up to him for like dealing with all of these, like, and also managing his own life, like he's really on top of everything. So I really want to give the up to him for also like helping out with students, like employees and like students. And for Yasmin, she's done great for like OCOM. They have been growing so strong. So yeah, up.
Alright, I like to give my up to a few people, so I'll start with Melody. Melody has been putting a lot of great work into the budget season. I've been going to most of the FMB committee meetings, and there's a lot that really goes into it. So lots of major props to Melody. Next, I just also want to give a big up to just the OCOM team and Yasmin in general. Yasmin has really supported me a lot through like the hiring season and like helped advertising. I've switched a lot of jobs around like last minute and everything like that. So major props to them, and I also want to give a big up to Leah as well. I know you've been going through a lot with JCC and everything like that, so I just want you to know that we all see like the amazing work that you're doing and everything like that. So major props to you as well. So up.
I guess I'll give my ups to Alex. I really appreciate you trying to like understand things and work your way through. Also being really trying to be a good voice of reason, even though it gets kind of like sticky at times. So ups.
Yasmin?
I can't because I am limited
that's
to
just-
service and
Cutting
cutting
back
back.
earlier.
Oh, never mind.
Yes, that was.
Okay,
Should I just go and then go?
Yeah.
Okay, mine is to Azan, cause we like ended the quarter talking about like we need to meet up and we finally like have a date in the books on the calendar and we have a lot of exciting things that we keep talking about working on, so I'm excited for our meeting tomorrow. Up.
I have two also, first to Amanda, because I know the research, I don't know the details, but the research symposium happened on Tuesday, and that must have been a lot of work to organize. And
next up, us.
Oh, we were.
Go ahead. Sorry, I need to cut you off.
I forgot it.
Who was next?
Anastasia, because I always see you working. So, yeah, being able to balance everything must be really hard. So, yeah.
I'm gonna give my up to several people too. I'm gonna give it to Jacob, Maya, and Anastasia. Jacob, just because he's been giving me like a lot of grace for a lot of things, I feel like, and I haven't really paid back that favor, and I feel really bad. But also just like the support you've given me as well. Maya, just like the times we spent, like it's not even like the hangout times, but just like the moments of clarity where I look over to you and I feel like we're understanding the same thing that's going on right now. And then Anastasia, like literally same thing, like I feel like I can talk to you about anything. And I also feel like you're just a vibe in general, like, and I love it, like I need that here. And I really miss you at desk time, like I severely miss you at desk time. But yeah.
I want to give my up to Maya because I really appreciate how much like effort you have been putting into the minutes. Like I went through that and I was like, wow, 37 pages, I believe. And I was like, what? I was like, you are a soldier because I don't think I've ever done anything worth 37 pages. And like I really appreciate like how like well detailed and how like well written they are. And I know you have a lot of other things going on. So I really just want to say that you're amazing. So up.
I want to give my up to two people. First, Thomas. Thank you for like helping me navigate DRS and all of that. Like it's super helpful. And second up to Naomi, because even if I'm having like a bad day after I hang out with her, I'm like happy again. Yeah. So up to Thomas and Naomi.
I want to read this.
Oh.
I can do it. Anastasia for giving me advice and support throughout my job for the past couple of months. To Thomas for the work we've been doing together with jobs. It's been insane and I'm so appreciative to work with him. And Andal, oh, my vision's failing, who has been working with an insane influx in legislation. The work you're doing is amazing and very admirable. Up to Naomi for doing this. That was great.
No, literally, thank you.
I just wanted to try something.
I really like that.
Okay.
I believe it's my turn.
Yeah, announcements.
Okay, everyone, I brought this up last quarter. There are mandatory transition day dates. Obviously, Amanda, this doesn't apply to you. On Doll, maybe we'll chat later. But as we know, transition sucked, was rough, was really not great this year and really inhibited us from hitting the ground running and going straight to serving the student body to the best of our ability. So something that Brendan has been so helpful and reserving the rooms and Thomas and I have been working on is we now have our calendar invites in your calendar. But there are rooms reserved for like organized in-person, face-to-face time with your incoming board member who's gonna be taking over your job. This plus the transition document are really gonna be the two, 1-2 of transition this year. So there's gonna be the transition document and then the face-to-face orientation. You'll have more updates on that, but there are specific dates. I've also sent you all calendar invites very far in advance. So please like look at those, internalize those. Like I really will not be accepting excuses. Like I mean, obviously if you're gonna like bail, you can do that, but please understand that like this transition is a fundamental part of our job and like your attendance at these meetings is like critical to the success of next year's ASUW. So please show up. There's a couple different dates to be flexible in people's schedule. And we're super excited because we think it'll be the smoothest transition, fingers crossed, yet, at least better than what we had. But yeah, also thank you to those of you and to the all staff. We covered transition there. We had a lot of people come, full room. It was amazing. Thank you to the board members who helped set up. That was lovely. So yes, and then all of ASUW will also be doing the same matching day. So this isn't exclusive to the board members. This is something we're asking of everyone. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay, so I'm assuming those two dates are there for reference.
Yeah, and I've sent you all calendar invites to your board outlooks, so
Okay.
if you need a visual.
Leah.
So, what about if like we have class or
yeah.
like, cause I know like JCC too.
You said that day you were not having JCC.
Oh, but yeah, but like it's both of them are on Wednesday. Oh, okay. You're talking about the 29th.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. But at the
We have
time I
other
have
days
class.
as well. Those are not the complete list. We have one or
Okay.
two more days. It'll all be sent to your calendar. This is just what I put in there.
And then hiring, Thomas.
Oh, yeah, so we're hiring, if you didn't know. Yeah, so basically, personnel committee members might be reaching out to y'all to like invite you to join their hiring committees. So please be nice to them and say yes, and just fill out their when to me's. And also, if you're interested in chairing, let me know. I know I've talked to a few, so I'll reach out to you probably sometime next week and assign you to a few things. And yeah, and it's the chairs, the personnel committee, this is their first time doing it. So just support them, walk them through it if they need any help. But yeah, that's it.
Do I hear any motions?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion to adjourn by Zon, seconded by Alice.
Please exercise caution since there is an active protest in the building. Make sure you're safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking it to a vote, all those in favor of adjourning, raise your hands and say yay. Yay. Raise your hands, please. Keep them raised. All those against?
No.
All those abstaining? All right, we are now adjourned at
Getting lit. Not even.
7:26.